Alright folks, this is the Lenovo P14s Gen 2. This is a Thinkpad. That means it comes with military specifications. It's ready for high moisture environments, high pressure environments. You can drop it a bit, it's going to be okay. And there's some level of spill proof too, if you can spill a little bit of water on there. There's a whole bunch you can find out about military specifications. If you Google search it online, I've covered it a bunch of times. I'm tired of doing it, so here we go. Now, it feels, acts like a ThinkPad, but the difference with this machine, and this is not a common type of thing, is that it has an NVIDIA Quadro T500 GPU, right? This NVIDIA GPU is designed for people who need to do 3D modeling, right? So like using AutoCAD to create designs or creating 3D models of animated characters and stuff like that. It's a whole different world from what I'm used to. I cannot review this device fully. I'm just not capable. So instead, I'll give you a tour of the device and tell you kind of what I think about it. And I was able to test the battery life, so we can talk about that as far as some kind of objective test. Okay, so first of all, you get a really great ThinkPad keyboard, standard ThinkPad keyboard. The trackpad is fine. It's not anything special. It's a 6 out of 10. Dedicated fingerprint reader, power button on the top with a speaker. There's also bottom firing speakers, so you get way more sound than you normally do out of a ThinkPad or really just out of an Ultrabook or a thin and light laptop. 14-inch display. It can be configured from 1080p up to Ultra 4K with HDR 400 and a rating of 500 nits. But this 1080p model, it doesn't get super bright. It's rated at 300 nits, and I believe them. You have a think shutter, so you can block the camera manually if you want to. Otherwise, you leave it open. Microphones on the top as well. And that's kind of it for this view of it. Let's take a tour around the sides here and talk about I/O. So the big call outs here is that you have USB-C with Thunderbolt support. You have this like proprietary type slot that you can use to connect different things. I don't even know what the hell people plug in here. USB-A, HDMI, full HDMI, which is awesome. Headphone jack and a micro SD card slot. That's really cool. On the back, there's a slot for cellular connectivity, a SIM card. And then on the right side, Kensington, Ethernet, and USB-A. So it's pretty rich with I/O. Definitely has the I/O you would expect most business machines to have. So that's good. Nothing too remarkable on the bottom or on the top. Oh, I should mention, this is about 3¼ pounds. And it's relatively thin and light. It's not going to be as thin as a MacBook or as thin as a Lenovo 9i or something like that, or even a ThinkPad Carbon Gen 9, which I recently reviewed. But it's thin enough, and when you consider what you're able to do with this device, 3D modeling, that takes a lot of horsepower. I mean, you can even do some gaming on this if you wanted to. Now, I didn't test any games, but I wouldn't be surprised if you can get 30, 40 frames per second out of a game like The Witcher 3 using this T500 GPU. So it's not its main intent, but just a heads up, that's available here. Now, a couple things I'm disappointed about. This doesn't have any of the privacy features. Well, it has some, but it doesn't have all of the privacy features that I love from the ThinkPad line, such as the privacy guard, where you hold down function and press D, and then it dims the screen unless you're staring directly at it. So people who are trying to observe your screen from the side, they can't do it as well. That's a really great feature. It's on the new ThinkPad Gen 9 Carbon, and it's unfortunately missing here. But you do get good battery life with just doing some web surfing, low nits, better battery life. I was able to get about 9 hours of power. Also with the video loop in there for when I was not actively using it myself. So that's all good. It does have a backlit keyboard. And really good media controls, dedicated phone call answer and hang up buttons, all that kind of stuff. I accidentally pressed it. Can you believe the luck? Anyhow, so pricing. This thing starts at $2,200, and with that you just get an i5, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, and that NVIDIA T500. The T500 is ubiquitous. It's going to be on every single trim that you can find with this model, and there are many, many trims. You can upgrade the RAM from 8 to be pre-configured from 8 to 32 gigs. There's also going to be one open SODIMM, so you can put in your own RAM, and then depending on which model you buy, you're going to have either 8 or 16 gigs soldered on. There's also the ability to add your own SSD card if you don't want the one that's in there now. So the SSD I mentioned is 256. You can pre-configure it up to a terabyte. So 256, 512, or a terabyte. And then the monitor, you can either go 1080p or 4K UHD with the HDR, and that's the one that I'd like to see people get, because I think that it looks really good on 14-inch, especially with the HDR. But that does come with a price tag. This thing climbs all the way up to $3,800. However, Lenovo always has sale. So the $2,200 base model is right now $1,280. So you can save $1,000 on the base model right now. That's tremendous. That top trim model, I believe, is $2,300 right now. So you save $1,300, and, or gosh, geez, $1,500, and you get, you know, the top trim. So $2,300 or so, I can't quite remember, for the top trim that has a very powerful modeling GPU, the T500, 32 gigs of RAM, 4K UHD panel, an i7 and 32. I mean, that's great. So on 1 terabyte SSD. So anyhow, a lot of configuration options. Nice device, not for me, but hopefully, if you're in the market for a powerful mobile workstation featuring Intel and NVIDIA, you found this helpful. And yeah, if you like these videos, I'll keep doing them. Cheers.